Good day. This is Dick Johnson, and it's great to have someone else doing these conversations with me. It's great to have Ann Krenz Organ, our music director and organist, here to talk a little bit about some very important upcoming events that we have planned. So welcome, Ann. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Good to
That,
be with you.
it's great to have you. I just wanted, before we even got started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why we are kind of moving back to online worship. So I think most of us realize that on the 20th of November, the governor of the state of Illinois said that we moved into a tier 3 mitigation because of the rising numbers of the COVID virus in our area. And it's really interesting because churches are exempt from any of the state of Illinois regulations because of freedom from religion. So that's why there are some churches that are having and been having worship service inside from the very beginning. But we have taken a more cautious approach, and so is our synod. And so we, as a part of this tier 3 protocol, there is a cultural centers are asked to not do any in-person inside activities at all. In fact, they're also inviting staff to stay at home during this period. And so we are part of the Metropolitan Chicago Synod, and the Synod has recommended that we follow the guidelines for cultural centers. And so at this point in time, we have decided not to do any in-person, indoor or outdoor worship, because even the outdoor worship is restricted to not more than 10 people. But indoor is completely restricted at this point for that purpose. And so that's why we are following a recommendation that the Metropolitan Chicago Synod has made to not do in-person worship at this time. So we've gone to online worship, which has been very interesting. It gives us a lot of different opportunities to use cameras in people's homes as well as in our worship center. And it's been a particularly interesting process when we have considered the 81st annual candlelight service, which has been one of the wonderful gifts of music and word and prayer that this church has offered to the community for 81 years. So what challenges have all of this made in your planning of this event this year, Ann?
Right. So these mitigations hit right at the weekend where we had planned to record our video clips for the candlelight service. We had already contracted with a videographer who was planning to come in. And so here now we really had a long conversation about whether or not we should even go ahead with filming this or not. And we decided finally that yes, we would go ahead, and we would just be really careful about all the procedures and protocols in place. So we scheduled 2 separate recording sessions, one day for all the readers to come in, and another on a separate day for the musicians to come. We had people come at staggered times so that we'd have not everybody in the building at the same time. Of course, everyone was very responsible about always being masked and physically distanced. The only people who got to take off their masks were the readers when they were actually reading in the sanctuary and being filmed, and the few singers who, when they sang, they were allowed to take their masks off. So the singers really were just a few family units. Of course, we didn't have the full choirs like we would normally have. I have to tell you, I saw the first draft today of the candlelight service, and it is fantastic. I mean, it's very different. Of course, it's going to be different. But the filming is beautiful, and you'll get to see the sanctuary all decorated for Advent and Christmas with the candles and the trees and the nativity set, the Advent wreath. It's just beautiful. So I hope that you will enjoy it. The service premieres on Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. So check for a link on the website for that.
Well, you've done a wonderful job under these crazy conditions that we're in to try to pull together what I believe is going to be and what we have seen to be just a wonderful experience. And so thank you, Ann, for the work that you've done. But that's not the only thing that you've been doing lately. You've been involved with your ALCM Christmas Carol. So can you talk a little bit about that project and maybe even a little bit about ACLM?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So ALCM is the Association of Lutheran Church Musicians. It's a professional organization to which I belong. Actually, I was the president of this organization for a number of years, 2013 to 2016.
Yeah.
So it's an organization near and dear to my heart. And this organization at Pentecost had a virtual hymn, O Day Full of Grace, that was pulled together. And now that we're in the Christmas season, the organization decided in September that they'd like to have another one of these virtual hymns for Christmas. And it's Angels We Have Heard on High. And so I was asked to arrange it for choir and orchestra, which was kind of a big challenge. There are parts for wind instruments and strings and brass and timpani and handbells. So it's kind of one of those everything but the kitchen sink kind of things. But there were 1,008 people submitted videos for this. And it's just fantastic to see people from all over the country. In fact, there were a couple of submissions from Australia, so I guess we could say it's an international project.
Wonderful.
So that we will include that in our Christmas service this year.
Great. Oh, that's fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit about the hymnal supplement that's going to be coming out?
Yes, wow, this really has been a busy fall. So the hymnal supplement is called All Creation Sings, and it's meant to go along with our Evangelical Lutheran Worship hymnal. There are 200 new hymns and 2 new settings of the liturgy, one of which yours truly wrote. So that's kind of another fun and exciting thing. We have ordered some copies of this, which should be arriving this week.
That'll be great.
Project just, yeah.
It really, I know that it just has been a long slog in terms of this pandemic, and it's just been so difficult. But we've heard some great news over the last couple of days about vaccines and the movement to getting back to some level of normalcy in 2021 will be just wonderful. And I just can't wait. I kind of tear up sometimes when I think of that day when we'll start to come back into worship in a
Right.
way that will feel comfortable for everyone, because this has been so counterintuitive for all of us. We are so
Right.
used to being together with people and worshiping together, and to be able to keep people safe this way by being very cognizant of the fact that churches have been part of the spreading of this. And so we've been trying to keep people safe through this whole thing. So, well, Ann, so great to see you. We see every Sunday and the videos, and thank you for all the gifts. And it sounds like maybe this, even though it's been different, it sounds like maybe this fall has been busier than some other falls that you've had.
Well, in a different way, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
that's for sure. Well, I want to
Okay.
thank you so very much. have a great day. And I've got a couple of more announcements to share with the congregation.
Okay, I'll sign off.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, it was great to see Ann, and we give our thanks to the wonderful leadership that she brings, not only to our church, but really to the entire Lutheran Church. She is one of the uh, worship leaders in the entire country, and we are privileged to have her here as our director of music. So just a couple of other things that I wanted to mention to you. We have a new mail slot at the church. I know that doesn't sound very important, but I know there are people that would like to stop by periodically and drop things off to the church, drop things off for the staff. We have now a mail slot. So if you want to come to church and no one's at the church office, please don't hesitate to use the mail slot. There's a box underneath it that will catch the mail that you drop in or the envelopes that you drop in. So please don't hesitate to use that. We have had an amazing response to the Refugee One toy drive thus far this year for our Refugee One children's Christmas party. We have already received $2,000 towards gift cards. Doing it a little bit differently this year. Normally we buy presents for the kids, but this year we're going to be doing gift cards and bags of candy for each of the children, and it'll all be virtual. So all we are asking for you is if you would like to donate, please send a check to St. Luke's or to Kim Hendy, marked Refugee One Children's Christmas. And then you can drop that check into the mail slot at church. So we would look forward to receiving that gift as a way of sharing our love and care for these refugee children. The Thanksgiving turkey drive. We had announced, I think a couple of weeks ago, that we had received about $700 towards turkeys. Turns out that there were another $600 in checks that came through the mail after that announcement. So we have up to $1,300 this year that was donated by you folks for the purpose of providing food at the Open Arms Food Pantry in Logan Square for turkeys this year, for gift certificates for turkeys for either Thanksgiving or Christmas. We want to thank Ken Choi. Ken does an amazing job of organizing this every year. It's been a little bit challenging this year, but what a response. So we want to thank you for that. We also want to thank you for the amazing response to the crop walk. This year, the Park Ridge Niles Crop Walk has raised at this point $33,000. It's just a little bit off of what our normal giving is for this virtual crop walk this year. So we want to thank you so much for the work that you've done, the giving that you've done for that as well. You're going to be receiving in this next week a letter from the congregation, just kind of outlining where we stand financially as we enter into the last month of the year. We have been doing this traditionally over the last 5 years to just kind of give people an idea as to where we stand and our challenge goals that we have to reach at the end of the year. We will also be sending out an 11-month giving record for each family. So please take a look and look for that in the mail. We want to thank you for your generosity. We also want to remind you that there'll be a children's Zoom call hosted by myself and Kim Hendy this Saturday morning at 10 a.m. We'll be sending out a MailChimp to all the families in our congregation with the invitation, or you can contact me and I can send you directly an invitation. We do want to secure that invitation because we don't want to have any interlopers on our children's Zoom call that could disrupt the call. So we do keep that invitation private, but if you would like one, we will absolutely send it to you. Those are the announcements and exciting things to report this week. We hope that you're having a wonderful week. This weekend is the second Sunday of Advent, and John Schumacher will be both sharing a children's message as well as a sermon this weekend. So we are excited to hear John. He's a wonderful, gifted preacher, member of our congregation, who's a retired chaplain from the hospice, Rainbow Hospice program. He was actually the religious director there. So we are so thankful to have John with us. And so just wanted to share that. The online videos will be available at 5 o'clock on Saturday night. So that's when you can download or watch the YouTube video for the week. We want to thank all of you for the wonderful gifts that you bring to our church, for the prayers that you continue to offer to us to support us in this ministry during these kind of chaotic times. Thank you for bearing with us, and we can't wait until we can bring people back together again in worship in person. But in the meantime, stay safe.